This is News Guardian. News Guardian with Greg Aldridge and Chip Tarbun on WFJX Fox Radio 910.
Good morning.
Does that make me Chip?
Well, I was just going to say Chip's on assignment this morning, so that means you know he's not here, even though Blair just said he was.
No,
but it's still
I am
his
not
show.
Chip.
It's still partly his show.
Yes,
but we're glad to have you
sitting in for Chip.
Glad to have you. So we were talking about the city council race.
We were. I thought we were done talking about that.
Last night, no, I just wanted to mention that last night there was another forum, and this one was in South Roanoke.
All these 10 people that are running for these 3 city council seats are very, very busy right now.
They're making the rounds this week. But I just wanted to bring up, and I told you so.
You told me so?
Well, to the audience, because something popped up last night that we talked about months ago. If you recall, there was a story in the Roanoke Times about how unsafe the bus station is and how horrible it is, and we said, well, this is ridiculous because.
Well, yes, it was absolutely unsafe. Although no one has ever been hurt there, run over by a bus there. There are no statistics of any likeliness of that in that area.
But we did spend millions building that beautiful bus terminal that we just had to have. And I hypothesized.
Wasn't just you.
And so did News Guardian Elizabeth. But we told you right here on News Guardians. Here's what was going to happen. That now that the train is coming, that story was designed to start the narrative that there's something wrong with the bus station we have, because what our city council wants to do is to build another grandiose monument to their reign as city council people, and build a brand new bus terminal that's also a train terminal and the all-encompassing intermodal terminal that'll do everything. But to get you to buy into it, they got to convince you that there's something wrong with the bus station we have now. Well, guess what popped out last night, just 3 months after we first brought you that hypothesis? What came out last night at the South Roanoke Forum?
I believe Mr. Ferris mentioned a new transportation.
It was one of the incumbents. I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
But yes, talked about this really cool, all-encompassing intermodal station they're going to put downtown that's even going to include bicycles.
Oh,
The bike, bus, train, car,
anything but car.
Well, I'm sure there'll be parking nearby.
And pedestrian.
And that because the city can charge, there'll be a parking garage. But yeah, if you're going to walk, drive, bike, bus, or train, you'll be able to get to this station and go from one transportation form to another, all in one beautiful, grandiose, multi-million-dollar facility that'll probably have a plaque on it on the outside that says, brought to you by Bill Bestpitch, Ray Ferris, and Dave Trinkle.
Oh, and John Edwards.
Don't
forget the Amtrak station is the John Edwards Amtrak station.
The reason why we bring this story to you, the reason why I'm telling you this is not to say I told you so. It's not because I want you to think we're smarter than anybody else. It's because we're trying to get you to understand how you need to read the news.
Yes, I think at the time we were saying that, all of the information was in that article. There was an article in the Roanoke Times about it. They even talked about it on the television news. Everything that we were hypothesizing, the information was there. If you were skeptical enough, if you were willing to look outside the box a little bit, all of it was there. I mean, the fact that someone came out with it last night.
Yeah, we just got a text. It was indeed Ray Ferris.
Rock.
So you had it right.
I rock. Yes.
But yes, you're right. If you're willing to not just accept what the regular media is telling you as
Do you know what?
on the face of it, and willing to question.
No, you know what it is? We're clairvoyant.
No.
We can tell the future.
We're not clairvoyant. There's nothing special here except our willingness to be skeptical about what the news media is telling us. That's all. And every listener out there, you can do the exact same thing. Remember,
you too can predict the future.
Yes, you too can predict the future by reading the Roanoke Times. If you're willing to accept that there's a motive to what they're saying and a purpose as to why they want you to believe something, and you start to question those motives and purposes, you yourself can predict the future. It's not you know what's going to happen now? The Roanoke Times is going to come out and say that they need to charge news guardians the $1,200 business tax for being a fortune teller.
That's right. We can predict the future because we look to the past, to things like Victory Stadium. Is it possible that if they really want this bad enough that they'll give it the Victory Stadium treatment? They'll stop taking care of the bus station. They'll start letting it run down.
That's it. That's probably coming. The beginning.
Wait. Yes. I'm predicting that is a possibility.
There will be future problems with the bus station that may even have been caused by the city itself on purpose. Yes.
Yes, it may become structurally unsound because of poor maintenance and shoddy management. There may be someone who actually has to be dismissed from a job who may end up in a cushier job somewhere, but we won't look at that. They will be dismissed from their management job.
News Guardian's Chip said, just texted us and said, be careful because we need a license to be a clairvoyant in Roanoke City.
I know, but I feel it coming, and I can't stop the power of being able to see through these things.
Now, when we tell you this, when we tell you to use skepticism, we're not excluding ourselves. Be skeptical of what we tell you too, and check things out, because I can promise you, News Guardian Elizabeth, the News Guardians Greg, we have a bias.
Yep.
Everybody does. The difference is we're honest, and we'll tell you about our bias because we firmly believe in the things we believe in. We're not going to mask it in fake news to make you believe that our bias is not bias. It's just simply an unbiased regurgitation of facts. That is absolutely preposterous. And if the Roanoke Times or WFIR or Channel 7 or Channel 10 or pick your Fox News, CNN, pick your news source, it doesn't matter.
And it's a little impossible, almost. I mean, if you want to get existential about this or theoretical, having something that is strictly unbiased is almost impossible because all of your statistics are gathered in a way that is likely biased. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you just want to quote numbers, whose numbers are you going to quote? If you're quoting something that someone said, the person who said it has a bias. It's really, I mean, you can try your best to have an unbiased news source, and people can say that they aren't, but I believe it's practically impossible.
I don't disagree.
Thank you.
So
that's nice.
So what do you do in that event? You'd be honest about where you're coming
absolutely.
from. That's it. And I'll honestly tell you, I want to see the 3 incumbent candidates from Roanoke City Council defeated. I'm not going to pretend as the Roanoke Times that I don't have a stake in the game. I'm going to tell you, I want to see him go down. I want him out of the city council. I'm going to be straight up front, and I'm going to talk to you about their records. I'm going to talk to you about what they've done, what they've neglected to do, to demonstrate to you why they should be removed. There's no two ways about it. And I challenge any other news outlet in this town to admit what their bias is in this situation to you and tell you. I'll bet you money that they won't do it.
Yeah, how much money?
How much you got?
$5. $5.
Now, my preferred 3 candidates would be Jim Garrett, Roger Maloof, and Hank Benson. That's who I would prefer. But honestly, just get rid of the 3 that are there. Any one of the 10 are better than the 3 we got there. Even that nutcase Frida Cathcart would be preferable to the 3 idiots
really,
that are there now.
You want to subscribe to the Frida Cathcart Investment Club?
No, I don't want to. But I want the 3 Republicans to win. In this instance, I prefer those 3 out of the 7 total possibilities.
All right, I get it. I know who you're for.
Well, thank you.
There's even a sign in your car that says
so. I know. I'm putting up signs for them, people. I'm going to tell you honestly. There's no falseness or fakeness or cover up here. I've been sticking signs in the ground for those 3 gentlemen. But I'll tell you, I talked to Valerie Garner. If you're a Democrat and you're not going to vote for anybody other than somebody with Democrat ideals and Democrat policies, then there are candidates for you, and they're not the 3 incumbents. If you're just not going to vote for a Republican no matter what because you hate Republicans, okay. But you still have 3 good choices. Twan, the black gentleman running, I thought what he said yesterday was very responsible and very respectful. And he talked a lot about the issues that we have in the city over poverty. Mm-hmm. And he said that our crime rate is tied to the fact of how much poverty we have here. Mm-hmm. And he's not wrong. When you have 75% of the children in Roanoke City schools whose parents cannot afford to buy them lunch, then there's obviously an economic problem in Roanoke City that the three incumbents, Ray Ferris, Dave
But everything
Trinkle,
is awesome.
and Bill Bestpitch won't tell you about. There's obviously a problem.
But they say everything is awesome.
I thought Valerie Garner was very respectable. If you're going to vote Democrat, you've got better choices than the three incumbents. That's the point here. But really, why don't we get together sometime? Let me talk to you about my three Republican candidates, because I like them a lot. And I'd like to put you in these three Republican candidates on May 6th.
Yeah?
Yeah, what would it take? What would it take for you to get you into this?
To get you to vote Republican right now.
Honestly, folks, just get rid of the three we have.
Yeah.
If you vote for my guys, love you, mean it, thanks. If you vote for somebody else, let's just get rid of the three we got.
Definitely need some and they were new blood. So what was it, 6 years ago? 6 years ago, they were the new blood. Well, not Dave Trinkle, but Bill Bestpitch and Ray Ferris were.
Bill Bestpitch he's been on
and off,
stuck in our politics locally for decades.
But keep changing your council members like you change your socks once every 2 or 3 years. That's not a very good metaphor, is it?
All right. I'm sure people out there are dying to hear about the cop who assaulted the driver and cursed at him. By now, you might have had a chance to go to newsguardians.com and actually see the video. That is not safe for work or kids. Yes, it is. I'm telling you, the language that this cop, before he's yanked away from this car by his fellow officer, is not fit for children. It's not fit for public. It's not fit for the workplace. But you still got to see it. You just need to know in advance. We're going to talk about that situation when we come back, but we need to tell you that this segment of News Guardians is brought to you by Bramilton Computer. And the reason why we're so excited to be telling you about it is because we have utilized their services and found them to be exemplary. And I've told them about your computer, Elizabeth.
Oh, yes.
Real quick, tell us what happened.
What went
wrong with your computer?
And I took it to Bramilton Computer, and they fixed it. You said briefly. Really? That's pretty brief. I was having internet problems. I had some antivirus software that actually seemed to have been causing some problems with my computer. I took it there. They took out one program and offered me a different one and they cleaned out some things. I mean, because I'm not a computer person. I know they cleaned out some files, they some error messages, they did magic, they had some fairy dust. When I got my computer back, it worked better and faster and is doing everything that a computer should do.
Fairy dust?
I'm not sure what they do. It seems like magic because I don't know what to, I couldn't do it myself. So
Bramilton Computer, home of the $50 does it deal. Whatever you need, whatever the problem is, whatever they fix, it's just $50 plus parts. And software. And most of the time you don't need new software or parts. Most of the time it's simply just
I did get some new software because I requested it.
Because what you were using you needed to replace. There's no doubt about it. At any rate, $50 does it at Bramilton Computer. Ask for Keith. Tell them that Chip and Greg sent you, or Chip and Elizabeth sent you, or the News Guardian sent you. Make sure you tell them you heard it right here on Fox Radio 910 with Chip and Greg. And when we come back, the cursing cop on Fox Radio 910.
News Guardians on Fox Radio 910.
Being the consummate broadcast professionals that we are smart enough to tease the most interesting and salacious story till the very end, to keep you listening through the entire hour. And this moment is no different because News Guardian Elizabeth wants to tell you about something quickly, so you got to hold on just another minute if you want to hear about the cursing cop.
Okay, I just want to take just a small bit of time, and, I have this microphone, it's mine, you have to listen to me. But the UK Telegraph...
They could turn off the radio.
They could turn off, yes, that's true. But they will not. Okay. The UK Telegraph, the London publication, I usually just read it online. Anyway, they have released a list of their 15 most influential and best North American novels of all time. Okay, they're not in North America, but they're going to tell us what our 15 best North American novels are. Anyway, on this list is The Catcher in the Rye. Now, I will agree that it was influential. I will not agree that it is one of the best novels of all time. I have often been against the idea that this is some super awesome novel. And now let me just give you their description. Of course, it's written by J.D.Salinger. Salinger's sort of autobiographical account of the misfit Holden Caulfield. His flight from his phony prep school is a controversial classic of adolescent angst. What I read, because, it's high school. You have all these things you're supposed to read, and Catcher in the Rye is one of these super books.
I got through high school without reading it, thankfully.
You're awesome, because just don't. I mean, it's a whiny kid whining about all of everything. I mean, everything. And I understand. The biggest problem I have with it is the idea that it's sort of autobiographical, because J.D. Salinger was a phony, in my opinion. So I don't like Catcher in the Rye. If you want to complain to me about it, feel free. And I could go on this for days, but you really want to talk about Farva 2.0?
I've got a complaint. And let's preface this with, we are not anti-law enforcement. I have family, friends, and people that I love that are involved in law enforcement. That's not what this is about. What this is about is people in law enforcement who should not be there because they are abusing citizens, they are abusing their power, and Virginia's jails, from one end to the other, are riddled with people who are there for no other reason than the officer at the very beginning of their altercation was abusing whoever it is, and abusing their authority, and somebody ended up in jail because of it.
Yes,
that's what this is about.
And in my experience, all the things we've experienced of wrongful persecution and prosecution is because law enforcement officers like this refuse to admit that what they did was wrong.
And then a giant cover-up will happen all the way up the line because they won't admit that they were wrong and let it go. So the citizen ends up having to go to jail just so the cop doesn't have to admit that he did something wrong.
Yes.
That is wrong. Now, if you're a police officer that doesn't behave in that way, and if you're a police officer that gets up every day and risks your life for nothing more than to earn an honest paycheck and serve your community, we're not talking about you. So please do not be offended. It's not about you. But in this particular
But you know this guy.
But you probably do know this guy. And I wish you didn't. But this is Officer Tolber, number, what does he call himself?
612.
Number 612. Who gets tired of a car that they keep seeing drive through their area. So he decides to pull it over. Well, it turns out the guy in the car, whose name is Steven, routinely carries a video camera, and when he sees police doing things, he films them because he's trying to catch instances of police abusing their authority to show people so that we can expose what's going on.
Which may be annoying, but it's not against the law.
No, it's not illegal. So this is a case where this police officer gets irritated by the fact that he's doing this. So he pulls him over. And during the stop, this entire traffic stop is on video. He keeps asking the officer, "Am I being detained?" Officer Tolber says no. And he says, "Well, let me have my license back. I'm free to go." And he won't give it back to him. The police officer continues to try to explain to him that the fact that he's driving around with the video camera is distracting him from his job. And therefore, he can tell him that he can't do it because he feels like a distraction. And he's using a legal term to identify this as
obstruction
of justice, which is not true. It's an absolute falsehood. So when he can't get the Stephen in the car to, one, say, I'm going to stop my operation here in the area, and I'm going to go away, and yes, sir, I'll do whatever you say. When he can't get the kid to do that, he starts to become angry until finally the point he throws something at the gentleman in the car. It's Stephen in the car. I can't tell if it's a pen or what it is. He throws something at him and then says, "You chicken S."
Whoa, hey, yeah.
Mother
he calls him lots
effer.
of length.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He goes nuts.
They can imagine.
The other officer who's standing there reaches over, grabs him, and pulls him away from the car and tells him he's going to need to back off. Then Stephen in the car says, I want to file charges for assault. He just assaulted me. So then the other cop steps in and starts to take his name and explains the process of the assault. But don't take my word for it. You watch this video. Now many people are going to watch this video, and they're going to say, Stephen had it coming because he was purposefully irritating the police officer.
I would think police officers would have a thicker skin, but not this guy who reminds me of Officer Farver from Super Troopers.
And if you've never seen that, maybe you should watch Super Troopers. Which
is also not safe for kids or work or
no. At any rate, watch this video for yourself. And if we had more time, and on another occasion, I'm sure we'll get to, I will tell you the story of my altercation with a police officer in Salem. I've had numerous ones where finally I just told in both of these cases with Salem officers, I finally just had to say, yes, you're right, I'll do whatever you say. Now, I didn't mean it because they were absolutely in the wrong and I was being abused at the moment. But my choice, it became painfully evident that my choices were either tell the police officer he's right and do whatever he says, or I'm going to get arrested for no reason at all whatsoever, and I'm going to have to explain it to a judge after I've had to spend money posting bond, after I've had to buy a lawyer and all these things, only to assert that I was right in the first place.
Yeah, and the likelihood of them saying I was wrong is
not going to happen. That's posted at newsguardians.com. Check out the video. Remember, it's not safe for children
or work. But thank you for having me today.
Well, you're welcome. It was fun.
Great to have you back.
Tomorrow you'll have News Guardian Chip with Mike Powell, and then Chip and I will be back together on Friday to wrap up the week. In the meantime, it looks like the sun's back out, and once we get through this cold weather, we might have some more spring.
Maybe.
We
can hope.
Have a great day. I'm Greg.
I'm Elizabeth.
This is the News Guardians, and you're listening to Fox Radio 910.